2, 1, live.
Ba-da-ba-ba.
And now I have to cancel the entire video because I'm gonna get copyrighted.
If you don't get
Now
your...
I'm fucked. Either way. So it's the Paladin. Everything else can screw off. Beyond the mundane life, almost by definition, the life of a Paladin is an adventuring life. Unless a lasting energy has taken him or her away from adventuring for a time. Every Paladin lives on the front lines of the cosmic struggle against evil. Fighters are rare enough among the ranks of the militia and armies of the world, but even fewer people can claim the true calling of a Paladin. When they do receive the call, these warriors turn from their former occupations and take up arms to fight evil. Sometimes their oath leads them into the service of the crown as leaders of elite groups of knights, but even their loyalty is first to the right cause of righteousness, not to the crown or country. Adventuring paladins take their work seriously. A delve into an ancient ruin or dusty crypt can be a quest driven by a higher purpose than the acquisition of treasure. Evil lurks in dungeons and primeval forests, and even the smallest victory against it can tilt the cause of paladins away from oblivion. The cause of the righteous. A paladin swears to uphold justice and righteousness, to stand with the good things of the world against the encroaching darkness, and to hunt the forces of evil wherever they lurk. Different paladins focus on various aspects of the cause of righteousness, but all are bound by the oaths that grant them power to do their sacred work. Although many paladins are devoted to gods of good, the paladin's power comes from such commitments to justice itself as it does from a god. They train for years to learn the skills of combat, mastering a variety of weapons and armor. Even so, their martial skills are secondary to the magic powers they wield. The power to heal the sick and injured, to smite the wicked and the undead, and to protect the innocent and those who join them in the fight for justice.
Smite the undead, oh no.
Yeah, I guess it's time to fuck your face.
Wait a minute.
I will read this little tangent because it is an amusing thing for the paladins. A paladin tries to hold the highest standard of conduct, but even the most virtuous paladin is fallible. Sometimes the right path proves too demanding, sometimes the situation calls for the lesser of two evils, and sometimes the heat of emotion causes a paladin to transgress his or her oath. A paladin who has broken a vow typically seeks absolution from a cleric who shares his or her faith, or from another paladin of the same order. The paladin might spend all day and all night vigil in prayer as a sign of penitence, or undertake a fast or similar act of self-denial. After a rite of confession and forgiveness, the paladin starts fresh. If a paladin willfully violates his or her oath and shows no sign of repentance, the consequences can be more serious. At the DM's discretion, an impertinent paladin might be forced to abandon his class and adopt another, or take the Oathbreaker paladin option that appears in DMG. So if you are a paladin and you do very badly, I could say, nah, nigga, you no longer got no magic. Or I just say, now you're evil.
Which is kind of interesting. They don't no longer need God.
So, Magic Man in holy suit of armor goes around being like, God shall save you, but not from me.
Basically.
No, he's the one that goes around smiting you in the name of God.
So what I just said.
No. There is no saving. He's just smiting you in the name of God. Think of it as a...
There is no saving.
Think
It is
of
the
more as a
crusade.
crusaders rather than salvation.
The crusade.
It is the crusade! But continue.
Days vote. Alrighty, starting up in their class features, they have a D10 hit die, which is a decent one for most melee classes, which almost all, except for the rogue and the monk have, I believe.
I don't know why the monk doesn't have it. I feel like the monk should. Their whole stick is about perfecting their body, so I find it kind of weird that...
It's because they don't have any armor.
Is that what it is? That's probably what it is.
I mean, because you can't be a monk and just take a blow from a great axe to the chest and expect to walk away from that easily. Where if you're wearing armor like a paladin, you can naturally condition your body to greater strengths.
Especially if it's mad
wise,
armor.
the monks are doing that than the paladins are. They literally train their whole body to do that, so I don't know. I feel like they should get a D10.
I believe it's mostly a focus in like the arm and leg region. Yeah, there's ways to take a blow on your body and reduce the impact by exhaling and all kinds of stuff, but that's a kind of a redirection as opposed to just tanking a hit. By the way, hopping into their proficiencies, they have proficiency in all armor and shields. They have proficiency in simple weapons and martial. They have no tools. They have proficiency in the saving throws of wisdom and charisma.
Very good saving throws. Oof. Very good.
And then they got proficiency in 2 skills from athletics, insight, intimidation, medicine, persuasion, and religion. Their starting equipment is a martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. They can get 5 javelins or a simple weapon, and they can start with a priest pack or an explorer pack. And they additionally have chainmail and a holy symbol.
Ooh, fun fact, they can have their symbol on their shield, which is cool.
And they can cast their magics from that symbol.
Wait, before we continue, what does the holy symbol do exactly?
It is the spellcasting focus for their abilities.
Yeah. The cast spells that have a symbol.
And it could be anything, depending on your god or whatnot. It could be like a death sickle scythe kind of thing. It could be a solid piece of pure white steel. It could be a picture of a dragon.
Wait a minute, could you bind certain spells to the symbol?
No.
I mean, I think I mean, technically
okay, to be fair,
an artificer could.
I mean that too, but to be fair, the paladin knows all the spells and just prepares a spell list. So technically, yes, the holy symbol holds all the spells.
I was just thinking, like, it had her just said you could put it on your shield or something. I was thinking a trap rune that when you touch it, it explodes. So whenever someone tries to attack you, you put up your shield, and they go boom.
I mean, I guess technically the Glyph of Warding could do that, and if a mage casts a Glyph of Warding on your shield, and then...
I don't know, I just like the idea of it. But continue.
So, with our very first level ability, we have Divine Sense. The presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that is not behind total cover. You know the type, celestial, fiend, or undead, of any being whose presence you sense, but not the identity. Within the same radius, you also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated, as with the Hallow spell. You can use this feature a number of times equal to 1 plus your charisma modifier, and you must finish a long rest to regain all expended uses. Now, I like where it's going, but I think the thing that kind of kills it for me is that you can't detect them behind total cover.
Yeah, debatable is situational, and I'm just going to give it 3 out of 3. 3 out of 10, actually.
Yeah, I'm not...
It's 3 out of 3.
I'm gonna give it a 5?
You know what, my question is, even if they weren't in total cover, does it tell you how many undead is there, or does it just tell you that there is undead there? Because I can see, like, if it told you that the amount of undead that's, killing in a certain area, okay, I could raise the score for that. But if it just tells you that there's undead there, then it's kind of useless.
It tells you the location of any that is within the 60 feet. So I would assume that it could tell you all that is around you.
Alright, so...
I could rate it to a 5.
Otherwise, I don't really know why it'd be, like, 60 feet from you. You just, like... Because if you're just detecting one creature, I'd just get rid of that range right there, because it's not really going to matter. Because most of the time, you're going to be like, I want to detect the location of one evil creature near me. And you can't really just say, well, I want to detect the creature of this known creature, because blah, blah, blah. It doesn't give you identities. It tells you, well, there's a fiend, a celestial, or undead around you. But no, I'm gonna give it a 5, because it's not a bad ability. It just needs a little work. Like I said, if it could work behind total cover, because I'm not gonna... If I'm very clearly seeing the creature in front of me, I'm not gonna use Divine Sense.
But even then, you couldn't use Divine Sense. Like, if you were to go to a building, you wouldn't be able to use it anyways, because the building blocks it.
Yeah, the building blocks it.
But,
I don't know, I think I think if you're at least playing canon D&D Adventure, other than Curse of Strahd, I don't really see a lot of. I don't know if a lot of the campaigns have undead or celestial fiend.
Yeah,
Unless
even
you like,
in Curse of
like Curse of
Strahd,
Strahd has it, and then like Descendant
like it,
of Vernus has fiends and stuff. But I don't know.
like most of them, like the vampire spawn and whatnot, they're like, sure, I guess you're not gonna immediately look at a vampire and be like, hey, wait a minute, I know what you are. Like a paladin, in theory, could be like, I sense something wrong with you, and then they can divine sense and be like, oh, wait, you're undead. But no, it just, like I said, I give it a 5 because, like, I can see it having its uses, and it's not taking away anything from the character, but the ability could be made better in a very simple thing. I mean, even then, like, for what it's an action, I could easily see this as a bonus action because it's just taking a bigger awareness. So you're gonna waste a whole action if you try this during combat, so that's a waste.
Honestly, I don't know if you should be using it in combat. In fact, I'm not exactly sure why it takes an action for this. I feel like this should just be a passive ability.
I can see that too. I can definitely see it as
I
a
feel like
passive.
this ability is sort of a metagaming type of thing.
It is, but it's also not because you can't know the exact identity.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying like if you were in a campaign or something, like it'd be kind of weird if you were just going through a mansion and you're just something like, hey DM, can I use divine sense here? I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a metagame type ability. It's kind of situation.
I don't know. If I'm walking through a mansion and I see skulls with candles sticking out of them, and the servants look a little fucking weird, I'm gonna be like, can I divine sense real quick? Oh, they're all corpses. Oh, this place is horrifically evil. And then you're gonna turn to the barbarian with his 3-inch, and he's like, really? No fucking shit, genius. I could have told you just by looking around here.
Yeah, but this is really situational. Kind of bad. Kind of bad.
So what did you say? Was it a 3 or a 5?
I'll give it a 5. If it actually tells you how many there is.
What about you, Undead? What do you think about it?
Alright, so I'm gonna do what I do and dumb it down. All this is a scan area for certain creatures.
More or less.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I don't know how often, like earlier saying you were like, oh, I scanned this area and we find out we're just in this fucking ghost illusion. Can't you just do fucking Arcana checks for that?
Not. That's technically that's investigation, but yes.
No. Yeah. It's not impressing me. Like, there's no downside, but still,
Like
there's
the
not a
only
lot of
way, the only way I could actually see this being put into a respective use is say you're fighting ghosts that you can't see. But you would also need to be part fighter for this. You would use this ability, use your first action to divine sense, then you would action surge so you can fight the ghost without being at disadvantage.
Still, I'm
For
gonna
a
say a
turn.
4. I'm gonna say a 4.
It's fair.
I mean,
Alright.
could you even use it on a ghost?
It is
Because it
undead.
says, yeah, but it also says that you can't find it through total cover. So like,
I mean, it was just hard to see. It wasn't in total cover.
yeah, but if you can see, I don't think you can. I think ghosts are hard to see. I think you can just see ghosts. It just.
There are a few. I'm thinking
Alright.
specters. I'm thinking specters.
Yeah, if it wasn't behind that total cover thing, I think it would be a lot better.
Like, even then, if you're gonna give me that problem, maybe extend the range a little bit, or like you said, make it a passive and just have it simply as your aura with 10 then to 30 feet. Do it something like that.
That's what it sounds like. Like the very beginning sentence is the presence of a strong evil registered on your sense like a notched shoulder or powerful good in rings. And
Yeah,
it makes it sound like a passive ability, and there's like as an action you can do this.
Yeah, walk up next to Strahd, take a big whiff, like, oh my god, you smell like shit.
Yeah.
And then you walk over to a next, like,
I don't know. I just don't know. It was kind of weird.
nah, but like I said, it's 5, and a 4.
I'm
Coming
not
up toward
impressed by it.
it's not that impressive. It needs
It's not.
a buff. But coming up to our next level 1 ability, we have Lay on Hands. Your Blessed Touch can heal wounds. You have a pool of healing power that plenishes when you take a long rest. With that pool, you can store a number of hit points equal to your paladin level times 5. As an action, you can touch a creature and draw power from this pool to restore a number of hit points of that creature up to the maximum remaining in your pool. Alternatively, you can expend 5 HP from your pool of healing to cure a target of 1 disease or neuralize 1 poison affecting it. You can cure multiple diseases and neuralize multiple poisons with a single use of Lay on Hands, expending hit points separately for each one. This feature has no effect on undead or constructs.
10
Now,
out of 10 ability.
I'll agree. I consider this one a 10 out of 10. Because at max level, that's 100 points of healing.
Pseudo cleric, go.
And if you wanted to take it into a sense where you could kind of visualize it, just visualize a mysterious stranger walking into a clinic where they're treating sick and dying patients as they're suffering from either wounds of mutilation or savage attacks by wild animals, or maybe there's a plague that's going around infecting people. And he just walks in and he goes up to the first sick patient and he drags a finger from the bridge of the nose down to their chin and then kind of pats their chest, and this wave of radiant energy kind of just flows through the body. And as it does that, you see just this little dark essence kicked away as their eyes spring to life and the look of illness leaves their body. The same person goes to another man who has been recently mauled almost to death by wolves. He is covered in bite marks and slashes, and he kind of just takes his hand, and you see the same thing, just this wave of golden energy flow through the person. And as it arrives to the wounds, it just starts to close and heal them almost perfectly until eventually the man awakens as well, feeling like he did the day before.
Damn. Heather, but before I give my simple reply to this, you have anything to say?
It is a really good ability. The fact that you can heal people with it makes you a pseudo healer, a tank, a damage dealer. And it allows you to cure their poison status or any diseases again, like lycanthropy, vampirism. There's another one, I can't remember it, but it can cure it, so that's just good news.
And it doesn't take any spell slots, it's just something you have each day. So like I said, that's 100 points of healing. So say you walk in somewhere and you got like a banshee and you're fine, but your friend goes down, you just reach down, you touch him and give him 100 points of HP right there on the spot.
Indeed.
You don't have to roll for it, you don't have to worry about it being counterspelled because it's not using a spell slot.
That's another good point. You can bring people back from being knocked unconscious. Significantly amount of health. It's really good.
Alright, so I want to say, what level do you get this ability at?
1.
Yeah.
Level 1. God damn.
Now,
So-
don't take that as the thing. It's at level 1, you only have 5 HP to use. At max level of 20, you have 100.
But it
Still
scales
low.
so well.
Like, that's still technically like a lifesaver. Like, could you use that to get someone out of death saving throws?
Yes. It counts as healing.
Alright. So, it's a lifesaver. You can do more than just heal yourself.
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it on yourself. You can use it on other people.
It's a level 1 ability. The only thing I see wrong with it is it's a one-time use a day thing, right?
No, you can
Technically,
use it as
yes.
many,
But
yes, but no.
on the level 1, yes. At level 20, say you walk over to one guy, you give him 20 health. You walk to the other guy, you give him 20 health. You use it until you no longer have HP sitting in that pool, which I said you pull from a pool of 100.
Right, right. I was assuming that you could do it like that, but still, it's a one bullet gun. That brings it down a little bit for me, but other than that,
I wouldn't even
gonna
call
say
it one bullet either. You can use it multiple times. You can actually spread the healing around to people. As long as you have
Yeah.
healing in the pool, you can spread it around multiple
Yeah,
times.
it's not like I go over to one guy and I touch him and I give him 20, and then like 3 hours later I go to another guy and like I can do it again. It's not like I use it once and then I have to wait for the next day.
It's
I
not
can
like the
use it
ASMR
multiple
ability.
times a day until I have no health remaining for it.
Yeah.
Then if your rogue goes over there and he opens a chest and gets paralyzed by the poison, you just go up and like, hey buddy, don't worry, I got you. And it doesn't waste a spell slot. Like it would be on like a lesser restoration from a cleric or, I guess, even a druid.
I think the ranger gets it now too.
I believe. Yeah, I was wanting to say range. I couldn't remember 100% though.
I think it comes in the optional ones.
Alright, so what were you gonna say about this undead?
I don't want to be rough on it, but I gotta say it really is a lifesaver move and it's level 1. So I'm gonna put my hands down and say 10
Alright.
out of 25.
Bitch.
Got him.
That said and done, we come to its second level ability, which is a fighting style.
Wait, did you guys rate that one?
Yeah, 10. Wait, we rated it immediately.
Alright. It was at the beginning. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I've played enough paladins that I know to enjoy myself here. Anyway, like I said, at second level, you get a fighting
level 2
style.
abilities. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you can get defense where you add 1 additional AC to yourself as long as you're wearing armor. You get dueling where you can add an additional 2 to your damage rolls with as long as you're wielding a weapon and a shield or just a weapon. That is not a two-hander. It has to be one-handed. You get the great weapon fighting where you can reroll 1s and 2s. And you gain protection, which allows you to provide disadvantage on attack roll if someone else near you is being hit. But I'm also going to go down here to the optional features where they have the additional fighting styles that were gifted to him, because I just feel like it's best to add them. And you gain what is called Blessed Warrior, which allows the Paladin to gain 2 cantrips from the Cleric's spell list. You can gain Blind Fighting, which allows you to have a blind sight up to 10 feet, as long as it isn't behind total cover. And you gain Interception, which is a better protection, because you simply look at the guy being attacked next to you, and you go out and be like, no, I'm just going to block this. Obviously, 10 out of 10 ability. I can't really give anything else.
Not gonna lie though, Blessed Warrior isn't really that good in my opinion.
It's a free
overall,
cantrip.
the fighting style was a 10 out of 10. But just to point out, the cleric doesn't really have that many good cantrips. Like you can take guidance, but like other than that, it has no good cantrip. I guess you could always take
Word of Radiance.
Yeah, you could take Word of Radiance, or you could take the fire one? Is it Divine Flame or something like that?
Sacred Flame.
A little range. Yeah. I guess you could take Sacred Flame for a range
I
attack.
wouldn't take Sacred Flame just because of what it is, but I would take Word of Radiance as a paladin. Maybe not as a cleric, but as a paladin, you're going to be in the thick of the combat, and if you're surrounded by enough people
I was saying,
shouting at them a holy word that makes their ears bleed.
It sounds like really paladin-like, senpai. Not gonna lie to you.
Well, if they're all sinners, I'm going to shout some profanity, and they're going to be embarrassed.
No. Well, I was saying, you could take your Sacred Flame just to have a ranged option. If you didn't want to use, for some reason, javelins.
Yeah. But and then again, I think you can use Word of Radiance, because I think that has a decent range as well.
And then 5 feet down, I thought it was just 5 feet and then like a circle around you. Like a square.
I don't think it's 5 feet. Oh, you're right, it is 5 feet. Oof. Maybe not.
Look at Saint unprofessionally pulling up tabs again.
Oof.
So yeah, fighting styles are 10 out of 10, but I'd be careful about Blessed Warrior. Guidance might be worth it since it's really good, but other than that,
Yeah, and I thought I misread Word of Radiance a long time ago, so no, I would not take Blessed Warrior. I thought it had just a little bit of a bigger range than 5 feet. What about you, Undead? What do you say?
Fighting style, it's hard to not give it a 10 because all it is giving you different ways to kick someone in the teeth.
I mean, yeah, if you get rated anything less, I'd have to go back through my other videos and just be like, well, he rated it this on this one.
It just add every scene from this series, and at the end of it, each one you put the fucking skeleton. Why must you fail me so often?
It'd just be a freeze frame of the skeleton when they add the little angry symbol. Either way, another thing we get at second level is the divine spellcasting.
Divine spellcasting.
Yeah, you learn to draw on divine magic through meditation and prayer to cast spells as a cleric does. The Paladin table shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Paladin spells. To cast one of your Paladin spells of first or higher level, you must expend a spell slot at the spell's level or higher. You regained all spell slots when you finish a long rest. You prepare the list of Paladin spells that are available for you to cast, choosing from the Paladin list. When you do so, choose a number of Paladin spells equal to your Charisma modifier plus half your Paladin level, rounded down. Minimum of 1. The spell must be a level which you have spell slots. For example, if you're a 5th level Paladin, you have 4 level 1 and 2 level 2 spell slots. With Charisma of 14, your list includes 4 spells of 1 and 2nd level. It's kind of low, but you know, if you prepare the first spell, Cure Wounds, and you cast it with the first or second spell slot, casting the spell doesn't remove it from your list of prepared spells. You can change your list of prepared spells when you finish a long rest. Preparing a new list of Paladin spells requires time spent in meditation and prayer, at least 1 minute per spell for each spell on your list. Although I don't think anyone's really going to do that. It's like you wake up, you change spells, alright, you're good. The spellcasting ability is based on your charisma, as Paladins draw their power derives from the strength of your conviction. When you use your charisma, whenever your spell referring to your spellcasting ability, in addition to when you use charisma modifier when setting the saving throw DC and making attack rolls. And the spell save is 8 plus your proficiency plus your charisma modifier. Your spell attack is your proficiency plus your charisma, and your spell casting focus is a holy symbol. Now, we could sit here and go through all the spells that the Paladin gets, but that would be several hours later, and I know one person in this party who is going to die well before that.
It's gonna be me, guys.
So let's cover the weakest and the strongest. Like,
That's challenging to say.
Yeah, it depends on the situation.
Like, I could go over here and I could look at the Paladin spells.
just like what does the least amount of damage and what does.
Well, there are several
could
spells
do
that
the
don't
most
do damage
damage.
at all.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like one of the like if you want, for example, you won't get into like later on level. Like one of the best spells the Paladin gets at higher levels is Holy Weapon, which adds 2d6 radiant on every attack.
All right,
So
then
like that with Fruit Smite, and then
let's go with Holy Weapon then. Let's go with Holy Weapon and Adder. What's one of the shittiest moves you can think of for a Paladin? Just off the top of your head.
It's a very
Divine
challenging.
Favor.
Divine Favor. Okay, yeah.
It's a first level spell. It lasts for a minute. It's concentration, and all it does, I mean, it's a bonus damage, but all it does is add 1d4 damage to your weapon attacks. Basically, a worse version of Holy Weapon.
Level 1 Holy Weapon.
Yeah, where is this? Holy Weapon, it's a 5th level spell.
Yeah.
It's a duration of 1 hour, and deals an extra 2d8 radiant damage on hit.
No, it was 2d8. Oh, so I lowballed it. It was 2d8, not 2d6.
As a bonus action, your turn, you dismiss the spell and cause the weapon to emit a burst of radiance. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of the weapon must make a con save. On a failed, they take 4d8 radiant damage and blind for a minute. So I mean, you could do this, and then you could add a Divine Smite on top of that, because, you know, blah, blah, blah. It is concentration, but, you know, that's that. Anyway, we're not going to get into all that, but yes, spellcasting.
My Paladin's gotta be powerful.
Spellcasting, 10 out of 10.
It's got to be a 10 out of 10. I could lower it because other creatures have more technically, but these being hybrid classes, they don't get as much.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think any spellcasting.
having a
to be
max
honest.
of 4 level 1 spells, a max of 3 level 2, 3 level 4, and 2 level 5 spells, it's not really comparable to some of the other classes, especially the higher ones that get a lot, but...
I mean, compared to full casters, no, but for what it does, it's really good.
No.
And it also feels your best feature yet.
So, well, what would you rate that undead?
Just because some of the spells aren't exactly yeah, some of the spells are mediocre at best, so I'm gonna with this one, I'm gonna say 9.
That's a fair point. The Paladin does kind of have some
Mediocre
spells.
He just gets spells to do damage.
As he
Although,
should.
although I guess going back, you did say holy weapon. I would kind of put banishing smite up there as a very powerful ability,
that
especially
too.
against celestial fiends or things not of the world.
Vanishing Smite.
Either way.
Oh, speaking of which, we'll get to the second ability. Third.
Well, I was gonna say, hey, judges, I don't know how to count. Either way, and the
No,
last
it's
thing we get at
jump.
second level. Last thing we get at second level is Divine Smite. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target. In addition to the weapon's damage, the extra damage is 2d8 for a first level spot, plus 1d8 for each spell slot higher to a max of 5d8. Meaning you only need a 4th level spell slot to do the max damage. It will also be increased by 1d8 if it is undead or a fiend to a max of 6d8. So, yes, it's a 10 out of 10 because you can't waste it because it's on hit. It's not like I'm gonna try and divine smite this man and I whiff and I blow up the orphanage next to me. It's I smack the man. I realize he's quite unholy, and I say, "Divine smite, you suffering succotash." And then, bam, he hurts.
Can use it on crits too, so you can double that damage. So that 2d8 becomes 4d8. Now 5d8 becomes 10d8.
That holy weapon gives you an additional 48.
We just keep on reading about the Paladin, and it's just like, I know he's supposed to be the powerhouse that makes things hurt, but Jesus, 6d8 at a second level ability?
Well, it's not at second level, because you can at exactly second level, it's only gonna be a max of 2d8 because he only has that. Well,
4d8 if you crit.
48 or 6d8 if it's a fiend or undead, but at the max of what you could do, there you go.
I mean, I guess technically if you hit it on a fiend with it, you could technically get 68 if you crit with it.
Yeah. And that's ignoring if you hit something that has like a weakness to radiant
and you
damage.
can put this on every attack you have. So like if you went fighter with this and you action surge, you can do 4 attacks with all divine smites on top of it.
As long as you have the spell slots for it.
Indeed. 10 out of 10 ability.
What about the undead? What do you think?
I'm also gonna say 10, like, if it's something that's like, if it's how it is, like you said, like, it's not like you miss and you accidentally blow up the orphanage, then the children's hospital, and then the hospital for the orphanage. But no, very damaging, and you get to choose when it fucking hurts someone. I'm gonna say 10.
Alright, so we got all these 10s. So we hop over to his 3rd level where he gets divine health. It just makes him immune to disease. Now, you don't really often come up against disease and everything. You're not gonna go through a regular city street and be like, oh, by the way, you got bit by a mosquito and now you have AIDS. Unless you got someone who's fucking sadistic. Although if you were in a forested area and you fell in a puddle of water and got, I don't know, dysentery, sure.
You,
You're immune to vampiric disease, werewolf disease, and blue rot.
Yeah, that blue rot's a bit of a mean bitch.
this man used the word dysentery.
As he should have.
Smallpox.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like it's not bad, but it's nothing like if you were to go. Yeah, I was gonna say 5. It's not like the monk who becomes immune to poison as well, which I could see a paladin being that.
Yeah, what doesn't about? You know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna. Can make you immune to disease, but not poison, huh? What a failure.
What if that poison gives you a disease? Am I immune to it then?
Yeah.
What if the disease becomes poison? Am I fucked? No.
What if that disease explodes in my skin and deals necrotic? And kills me?
But I like this one actually. I know it there could probably be more to it, but it's a 3rd level skill and you do not have to worry about walking through a jungle and mosquito landing on you and giving you AIDS. No, you all good. I'm gonna give it an 8.
You're gonna give it an 8? Yeah, that's fair. My question though is, what if I'm level 2 and I have AIDS and then I become level 3? Do I suddenly become unsick, or am I now permanently stuck with that? But if you try to infect me more,
you have the power of AIDS.
You would be immune to it, so you'd be you would just be a carrier.
Hold on, that's fair. Does anyone remember that?
Say. You basically be one of Papa Nurgle soldiers.
Hold on. Does anyone remember that character from South Park that's like, I have diabetes, and his superpower is diabetes? Like,
So
South Park had a fucking superhero phase, and this man's superpower was diabetes. But no, say, now you have the power of AIDS.
So another thing we get at 3rd level would be Psychodos, but we're not going to talk about, and because of that, we also will not talk about Oath spells or the Channel of Divinity, as they are dependent on your Oath. We do not talk about the ability to score improvements, because they're just kind of there.
Extra attack, 10 out of 10.
Facts.
Extra attack, 7 out of 10 for me, because it's not.
I don't know why you're giving it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, I'm not genuinely giving it, because it like I can give the fighter one a 10 out of 10, but you know the fact about the paladin is you're putting smite on each of those, so it's an assuring fuck you up station.
But saying maybe I was half expecting you to be like extra attack. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, just change it up every time. Oh, this extra attack kind of sucks, man. I'm gonna give it 1. No, I'm gonna give it 0. I'm gonna give it a
W.
Level 6. Ooh. This is where it gets good.
This is where probably the most the most powerful piece of the paladin's kit, in my opinion, the Aura of Protection. Whenever you or a friendly creature within 10 feet of you makes a saving throw, the creature gains a bonus equal to your Charisma modifier, a minimum 1 or a maximum of 5 or 10 depending on your level range. You must be conscious to grant this bonus. At 18th level, the range of the aura increases to 30 feet.
10 out of 10 ability.
It is most certainly a 10 out of 10 ability, because that is simply...
Plus 5 to all saving throws.
Now, plus 5 may not seem like a bunch, but on a lot of saving throws, it could be like difference between I am now under the command of this man and having to fight all my friends, or I'm now giving that guy the middle finger as the paladin proceeds to sword fuck him.
You know, you say this right, but this ability is almost as powerful as the Resilient feat. It's literally missing it by 1 point. Basically the resilient feat, but for all the stats. Well, resilient's only 1.
Now, the problem is you can use this and resilient.
Indeed. Well, I mean, I don't know if you need that, though. But,
I mean, I think on a paladin, the only one I would probably get resilient, but just for con.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I can see that.
Because then I could use it whenever, on the very few number of concentration spells I have, I could basically, like, well, you know what, you'll never make me stop concentrating. Because then you'll have like a plus 11 or whatnot at whatever level you do this. And basically, as long as they don't do like 60 damage, you'll never fail. Then getting the increased range at a higher level. I guess the only thing you might be able to grumble at the start is probably just the range of 10 feet, because it's not a huge range.
I mean, that's still pretty fucking huge.
That and as Heather always likes to point out, you can use this on death saving throws, so it's one of the things. Maybe if the paladin goes down, no one can really use it because he has to be conscious to grant it. He can't force of will himself to succeed that death save.
Apparently the god did not protect his ass while he's sleeping, so...
Yeah, this man forgot to pray before he went to bed, and now God's like, sorry, Chief.
But me and Hatter definitely say 10 and 10. What do you say on that one, Undead?
The only thing I find weird about this is equal to your charisma modifier.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our
Paladins are charisma-based casters.
I don't know about that. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. I see nothing really wrong with it besides the range limit.
Alright.
But this, I was just gonna say this is very situational. But not. Hold on, no. Let me rephrase that. It's situational in the way that when you want to use it, you're usually just right next to the person.
I mean, it will certainly help all your martial character. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Help them show up that weakness of having mental, weaknesses.
Save you on those dexterity saves with your shield master, making sure you don't take damage from those dragon's breath or fireballs. But no.
Yay, dragon fire.
Coming up to our 10th level ability, we get the Aura of Courage, an additional aura that stacks with the Aura of Protection. You and friendly creatures
10, that's a big number.
Yeah, it was a huge jump on that. That was a whole 4 levels. Now, simply, while you are conscious, you and your friendly creatures near you within 10 feet, 30 at level 18, cannot be frightened anymore.
10 out of 10 ability. Dragon fear, any other creature, any spells that cause fear, all negated.
Now, usually the only things that are gonna start doing fear on you are very high level things. That said, I do believe there are a few creatures that have powerful abilities, but they are basically negated as long as you are immune to frighten.
Exactly.
Which
10 out of 10 ability.
might be a Banshee Screech?
Hmm.
I'm gonna take a quick look just because I'm now curious.
Isn't a Banshee Screech supposed to make just about anything piss its pants?
No, it kills you. Yeah, if you fail the save on it, it immediately just drops you to 0 HP.
I can imagine people pissing themselves when they die.
I mean, that's called voiding their bowels, but... Now, I can't think of anything right now, but there are a couple creatures that have very deadly and powerful things that could probably... I think some of them can kill your character, but if you're immune to fear, you just take the damage as opposed to the instant death. But
Hold on,
still, I can't really... Just because it's not going to come into effect in every single combat, I'm going to give it a 9. not a 10.
It's fair.
It's.
But
I'm
there's a
gonna
lot
give.
of monsters that have the fear immunity. And spells, too. You're forgetting spells. Spellcasters are kind of staple in D&D, so you might run into them more often than not.
Well, I have less worry about using Aura of Courage and just using my Aura of Protection instead in that case.
Well, I mean, it still doesn't save you from fear, though.
I mean, it can.
I mean,
Because
it
I think
can,
fear, most fear is a wisdom save, which a paladin
Indeed.
is proficient in. Plus, he gets his Aura of Protection
I'm
on
just
himself.
saying, being immune to fear, you know, because I think, like, I think certain dragons have a ability.
I think most
Even-
ancient dragons just have a presence in general that
I
scares
think
people.
most fiends also have a fear ability and stuff like that, so being
I
immune
believe
to
so.
fear is a good thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong,
Especially
it is a
especially
good
at this
thing.
level, you're fighting way higher monsters. You'd probably be fighting those monsters now that have fear, and that's honestly good.
I don't think low-level dragons have fear visage. Maybe a red one, but I don't think some of the other ones. Maybe a red and black, I should say. But
Like I think like most hags have it. I think the beholder has it.
I think the beholder has a fear ray, not a fear presence.
No, but no, just saying.
And I don't
Can't be fear.
know about the hag in general.
I think at least one of the hags have it. It might be a sea hag.
A sea hag.
I mean, specters, banshees, pit fiends.
Yeah, it's the sea hag. She has what's called a horrific appearance, and dear God, is that ugly.
I mean, at least they weren't wrong. Yeah, I think it's a good one. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
I'm definitely not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, eh. What about you, Undead? What do you say?
So, for me, it's. I could easily see this being an earlier level ability. I know you can't just give the class every good thing within the first 5 levels, but I don't know. I could see this being a couple levels earlier. I do like the range. Like it definitely encourages people to stick together in the party. I feel like it's gonna be a 9 for me.
The only argument I have for everyone sticking together, you don't really want to stick together against a dragon.
You'll be fine.
Mount Sandpie Paladin Best Shield.
Exactly. He gets all
but
the
Shield Master
saves.
don't work that way.
No, but
You say that like I was talking about his actual shield.
I mean, he could use Shield Master to protect himself too.
Yeah, it would be quite wise for him. By the way, at 11th level, you gained Improved Divine Smite. Now, it's not actually an improvement on Divine Smite, it's just you always deal a little bit of a Divine Smiting. You are so
basically get a
suffused
1D
with Righteous
longsword.
Might that all your melee attacks carry Divine Power with them. Whenever you hit a creature with a melee weapon, it takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage.
It's a nice boost in damage, so I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10.
It's undeniable. Extra damage is damage, and Radiant is one of those,
Least
Well-
resistant, so.
yeah, it's one of the less resistant ones.
I don't know, saying. I mean, it's kind of like extra attack. You might want to give it a 5.
You're right, I should give this a 3.
Hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 3 because in your next bit of campaign, all you're gonna do is fight angels.
But no, it's literally just an add-on, so I'm gonna say 10 as well.
Now, but if I was to give it any kind of thing, just look at the Zealot Barbarian, who at level 3 gets technical Divine Smite. It's a little weaker, and you only can do it once per attack per turn. But it's still something they get at level 3, where this comes in at level 11. Yes, it affects
but-
everything. Yes, it has the potential to do 2 more damage, but I could see this being a little lower on the bar.
I don't know what you mean 2 more damage. You're saying severely outclasses the bar one.
Oh well, yes, because you do it on every hit. But what I'm saying is, I'm saying I could see it maybe being a little lower on this bar.
I think they would become a lot more powerful. No, because at that point they would outclass the fighter.
Yeah, I mean, irregardless, once they get this, they become a lot more powerful. Something that gives you guaranteed extra damage is like. Also, don't give me that shit, because at this point the fighter is doing 3 attacks.
Yeah, but if you put this down lower, where like 7 or 8, it would far outclass the fighter. It wouldn't even be funny. It would just outclass the fighter.
And then at level 11, they'd be right back to the same story.
No, they would still get outclassed, but then they would have to replace the 11 ability with something else.
No, they just wouldn't be there.
Oh, no, you're just missing 1 ability though.
No, they just got lowered down.
But yeah, I don't know. I think 11's good for it. Otherwise, you would just outclass this fighter, and I don't know why you would want to go fighter then.
So, coming down to level 14, we have Cleansing Touch.
I like this ability.
You can use your action to end 1 spell on yourself or 1 willing creature that you touch. You can use it equal to a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, a minimum of 1, and you're going to each use when you finish a long rest. Now, this is basically you getting Dispel Magic, but as opposed to having to roll it using a high-level spell slot, you just touch a person saying, not anymore. So that man who is affected against a charmed person, you're like, nah, you're fine. That man who is
hold person
paralyzed,
and stuff like that.
Hold person. Nah. Now, like, I wish he could also go up to, like, say there's a force cage that's preventing you. I wish you could technically Cleansing Touch that. But it has to be on a person, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Although I do like that you can use it on yourself.
Could be 10 out of 10, because at this level, I feel like you're probably fighting a lot of powerful spellcasters and a lot of debilitating effects.
Now, the real question is, when you use, like, Lay on Hands or the Cleansing Touch on yourself, do you really have to just be, like, reach your hand out all periodic-like and then touch yourself anywhere on the body and be like, there, I have affected myself? Or could you just be sitting there like, I'm going to affect myself with this ability?
Probably the latter.
So if you were affected by a hold person spell, you could, in theory, just be like, nah, not anymore.
Oh yeah. Since it says you can use it to just spell on yourself.
Yeah, but the only thing, it's just the way it says that you touch.
I mean, I still think you can move when you're hold person.
Now, when you're hold person, I believe you're either paralyzed or stunned.
I think they might be able to. Yeah.
Allow me to look at this. So yes, they become paralyzed. They are considered incapacitated. They automatically fail strength and dexterity saving rolls, and attacks have advantage. And if they do get hit, it's a crit if they're within close enough. So, I forget. Incapacitated. Does that do what I think it does? Yeah, when you're incapacitated, you can't take actions or reactions. So no, you wouldn't be able to use this on yourself.
I don't know, it's true.
Hold person. So,
glad they do some other spells then.
So, I mean, irregardless, you could cleanse like 9th level spells that are cast on people way easier than anyone else could. So, definite 10 out of 10 there for me.
10 on 10. No.
What about you, Undead? You got any opinions?
What's up, Rebecca? Give me a moment.
The only real problem I have with this is the long rest thing. But I can see you using this, like, so many times in one session. And that almost makes me want to bring it down. In fact, it does want to make me bring it down. The fact that this thing is so useful, and I can see people using it every D&D session.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring it down to a 9 because you have to finish a long rest to do it again.
Well, you get 5 uses.
You get 5 Okay.
You get
I
your
was
charisma modifier uses.
all right. That makes it better. Eh, yeah, that does help a lot. I'm gonna say 10 out of 10. I was gonna say if it was like a 1 or 2 times use thing, it it would have brought it down because it's so useful. You'd end up using it before you really needed to.
Yeah. Yeah. At 18th level, we get the Aura Improvements, which just increases the range of your aura, like your Aura Protection and your Aura of Courage to 30 feet. And that's not counting any aura that you get from your Sacred Oath, some of which are very good.
When are we not waiting for Hatter?
I mean, I I'm not gonna really rate this one, just because like when you get your auras originally and whatnot, it's not.
10
It's
out of
just
10.
sure it's a 10 out of 10, but I'm not gonna officially rate this just because throwing it in with the auras themselves, that's really
Yeah.
all it's affecting. So
Oh, oh.
go on.
Speaking
Go
of which,
on.
I think Tasha came out with a little off spell list for the Paladin to get a Spirit Shroud.
They
Add
do.
more 1d8 on their attacks. So if you really want a smite build, just you slap us on Spirit Shroud and just go to town with all the smites.
They just like with the optional class features, they gain just
Oh.
just 4
And
additional
harness
things.
divine power.
There's no harness divine power here, but sure.
No, it's an optional spell feature.
Oh yeah, that. Which still is arguable. But no, when they get, I'm
10 out
not
of
going to
10.
rate the additional spells because we're going to read 10 out of 10 because it's just additional. But you get General Repose, Prayer of Healing, which
Partial
it's kinda,
versatility, harness divine power. Oh, 10 out of 10. Please.
I was just going through the spells, what I was actually doing.
Oh.
Then you get Warding Bond, Spirit Shroud, and Summon Celestial, which they're all pretty decent. But let's moving just from that, going to the Hunter's Divine Power, which you gain at 3rd level. You can expend a use of your Channel Divinity, which you only get 1 of, to fill your spells. As a bonus action, you touch your holy symbol, utter a prayer, and regain 1 expended spell slot, the level which can be no higher than half your proficiency bonus, rounded up. The number of times you can use this feature is based on your level in the class and this feature. 3rd level once, 7th level twice, 5th level thrice. Do you actually gain more uses of Channel Divinity?
No.
So how in the hell are you going to use this ability that many times?
I have no idea. Considering I don't think you. I
It's
guess
Excuse
at that point. I guess at that point you're just draining the channel divinity. You just. Whoa!
well, I mean, I guess you can you get your Channel Divinity back on a short rest.
Hmm.
Yeah. But this doesn't give you a limit though. It says you can do it in succession. So like. I guess once they do it the first time, it just fuels all the other times. And I'm not exactly sure what that is about. I feel like that's an oversight.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, yeah, I get
I'm not
smite
complaining about
back. I get a smite back, but that's that. And then martial versatility, just whenever you get your ASIs, you can replace a fighting style with a new one, depending on what you feel like, which it's good. Sure.
I like it. It's a 10 out of 10 ability for me.
But I'm not gonna really rank these just because they're kind of.
Go
Like,
on.
I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I would officially take out of the optional features, maybe other than Spirit Shroud, would probably just be Interception for a Paladin. Other than that, everything here you could very honestly live without and not really lose anything.
No, I think they're all good. I think they're all. Like you said, harness divine power. Did you smell the spell spots back?
Once,
Once.
twice, with a short rest. Then thrice for no other reason than fuck you.
But I think it's actually pretty useful. That's 3 whole spell slots you could potentially get back. That you can later on use for divine smiting. Or any other spell. And then martial versatility just allows you to change your fighting style. So, I mean,
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've actually changed my fighting style.
that's because we didn't have it before. But now we do, so.
I mean, I don't know how many times I would officially change my fighting style regardless.
I mean, I can see it in certain situations.
Oh yeah, I reached 4th level. I know that we're going to go fight this this one creature that likes to use range attacks, so I'm going to take interception. But then after that, I never get to use it again until I get my next ASI, which is at what level
8.
do you get? 8. Yeah, so now I'm stuck for 4 levels with a fighting style that means nothing to me anymore.
I mean, I think it gives you
means
versatility.
nothing.
Like, if you need to be more tanky, you could swap Inception for defense, since you can't use Inception on yourself.
I mean, just get the 2 points into fighter, and there you go. You can have both.
Yeah,
You want that action surge anyway.
that's fair. Action surge. I said fighter with anything makes it better. Fighter with any class just makes it significantly better because action surge is so powerful. It's so powerful.
But you know, definitely looking at the paladin overall, it's a potent damage dealer, but it's also a very important front line or middle ground character. Because he can use bows, he can go with Dex Paladin and be a ranged attacker. It'll make it much more difficult for you to smite as you require a melee attack.
Indeed.
Sure,
so
you'll have your rapier to stab people with when they get close. So you can mitigate damage coming your way.
I think this is another class, like the barbarian. I really want to go dex space with this, unless you're going to keep your build. Yeah, I really want to not use like a bow on this or a crossbow.
I mean, don't get me wrong, you could go crossbow expert and get your 3 attacks, and yes, that lets you do damage before they get close to you, and once they get close to you, you can then go and stab them with that weapon. Like, if you're fighting a bunch of strict melee-oriented enemies, it's just reducing how much damage can potentially reach you. But if you're trying to stay more melee style, you might as well honestly just go strength.
Yeah. I really would not go bow build with this at all. One, because Divine Smite just makes up for most of it.
Any last things you would say about the class before we wrap up Undead?
I think Paladins are a very strong base class. I think just with base feature, they are very powerful.
There are, in fact, a few subclasses that make the Paladin a very, very potent force, regardless of station. I think it's the Oath of Ancients.
Yeah, I love the Oath of Ancients. It's not a damage dealer, but oof.
Like, just
ability.
ignoring like the spells they get, but their aura of warding that gives you resistance to damage from spells, just passively. That is probably the A-tier aura, honestly.
10 out of 10 ability.
Like, if you look at the Paladin of Vengeance, he doesn't get an additional aura. And then you look at the Oathbreaker, who gets the Aura of Hate, where he increases the damage by his charisma.
Honestly, I think that's one of the worst, the Paladin auras. Because it says any fiend and undead, so that means if you're fighting fiends or undead, they also get it.
But no, like, if you're working with a necromancer and he's got those beefcake guys right next to him, and you're just fighting with his skeleton warriors or standing next to his skeleton archers, it's a powerful bonus. Like, It's not something we usually do, but I just want to do it. Aura of the Sentinel from the Paladin of Watchers. You emit an aura of alertness when you're incapacitated.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
So when you roll initiative, you gain a bonus to your initiative equal to your proficiency bonus. That's a little bit better than your charisma.
Indeed.
Like, what about Open Seas? This is a critical role content here. Aura of Liberation.
Hmm?
You
Yeah, I
cannot be
think they're
grappled or
concept.
restrained, which, I guess I can like that. As well as movement, ignore movement and attack penalties underwater.
Yeah, I think that's a nice one. The little attack penalties, because then you can use any weapon now. So,
Yeah. And looking at the crown, he doesn't really have an aura. Redemption. He's got the aura of the Guardian, where he can, within creatures within 10 feet take damage. You can use your action to magically take that instead.
that might be very nice.
The Oath of Glory one kind of sucks because,
Facts.
yes, it increases your walking speed by 10 feet. And any ally that's within 5 feet of you. And then increases to 10 feet. I feel like this was an oversight. I don't know who said, let's make it 5 and then 10 instead of just the 10 and 30.
But the Conquest. Oof. Conquest Valley is nice.
Looking at the Aura of Devotion, you can't be charmed. Their ignorance of charm effects, that's pretty decent. Going over here to Conquest, like you said, looking at their Aura of Conquest, you are scaring things around you. Let me see. You are constantly emanating a menacing aura while you're not capacitated. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. If a creature is frightened of you, its speed is reduced to 0 while in the aura, and that creature takes psychic damage equal to half your paladin level. So you have to have some way to make creatures frightened of you for this to really do anything, is the problem.
Which it's not really a problem because the paladin gets a little conquering presence, which you can make any creature 30 feet with you frightened of you.
For 1 minute, but they can save out of it.
And even then, if you went like Undead Warlock, when you smack people, they're automatically frightened of you, I think. Oh no, they gotta make a wisdom save, but they're frightened of you, and then you can just stack that on top of other things. And then you just stun lock everyone down.
Well, that has been the Paladin. Join us next time for the Ranger.
Don't worry, I didn't put my 2 bits in.
0 out of 0. The entire class. Just...
You are very right. Someone interrupted you when I asked specifically you. So, what's your 2 cents?
From reading this and hearing about it between you two, this character is right off the bat a powerhouse made to deal damage and to protect itself from a various array of damage from enemies. Although I do like the sense of there are certain spells that you could use to kind of break this character down. And I like the thought of if this type of character gets broken down, it kind of makes him topple. Not just in game-wise, but in roleplay-wise.
The biggest thing I've seen is if you don't, sticking together against every enemy is a bad idea, but I have also seen and experienced firsthand that the moment people tend to leave the presence of a paladin, they tend to drop very quickly. Specifically, they get turned to ash.
But no, I really like I really like how I hear almost nothing but good things about the Paladin, and yet there are still ways to have a fucking downfall with this class. Like, I forget which subclass it was, but Paladin is supposed to be one of the most damaging classes there is, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
At least one of the most first ones, though.
Like, if you had an enemy with enough health, I think a rogue would potentially, provide that he constantly has the advantage, could potentially start out damaging a paladin at some point once the paladin runs out of his smites, because the sneak attack is consistent.
As long as you have advantage.
Yeah, as long as you have advantage, or you got the paladin sitting right next to him as well.
But one more thing I want to say about doing damage. There is, with the oaths come different types of damage, right?
There comes different kinds of abilities, and you get their level 20 abilities on their oaths, which some of those are amazing, and some of them are not so amazing.
But no, I just want to say, I like how it not only does big damage, but it does different types.
I mean, sometimes I don't even really look at the paladin as his damage dealing. I look at him as the main line of the party, because a party can be set up around a paladin, and they can pretty much, as the paladin of a group, steamroll through things. And sometimes when you're not sitting behind that man in armor, you can very quickly find yourself toppled. But at the same time, another thing is, if you're relying on that paladin to keep people busy and whatnot, and he happens to go down and they start looking at you, I've also seen people just fall to pieces after that.
Yeah, the paladin is really powerful.
He's really powerful in the fact of his strengths and his defense. The biggest issue is if the paladin
He doesn't
goes
really have
down.
a lot of weaknesses either.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, specifically because of his aura of protection, making a lot of those things difficult. But what I'm saying is, if he falls unconscious and people lose those features that he gives just by existing and being conscious, it, in a do or die situation, the party could be quite literally doomed.
Indeed.
And I guess it does go to say, if you have multiple paladins in your group, you only gain the charisma bonus from the one with the highest, or the closest.
They already done that. You used to be able to stack them, which made it insanely powerful.
We have 4 paladins. We all have +5. That means we have 20. You're never gonna get us some. At minimum, we have +20.
Right, at minimum. Add some magic items to that, make it like +30.
Oh, you wanted to try and take away my
think...
really charm me. Well, unfortunately for you, I have a +6, a +5, and a +20 to my wisdom throws.
I'm trying to think so.
So a minimum of 21. A 31, I mean.
I feel like the paladin is the best out of all the half-casters. At least maybe. I think the artificer might overtake
the artificer has less choices, but the artificer has a lot of power things, because the artificer can make magical items.
Indeed.
And they can give those magic items out. They have they can make followers. They can make so many things that, sure, they may not give as much to the group just by being there, but they can create things that improve the party greatly. See,
and I like it.
Actually, no, we're not going to do the ranger next. We're going to do the artificer.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh god, but all the stuff the artificer gets out, just...
Well, yeah.
But